A bunch of you guys have been asking me about these things and what you're even supposed to do with it. So, figure we talk about nutrition facts panels today. Cool? Cool. So, I got a couple boxes here with me. Some good old Cheerios, Belvita biscuits. This is not an endorsement video. I'm not getting paid by any of these. In fact, quite the opposite. So with these, what I want you to know is that there's 3 different parts to it whenever you're looking at a nutrition facts panel. So we have the numbers, the actual nutrition facts. Then you have the ingredient list. And then there's this other part right here, the percent daily value. I'll go ahead and start out with the actual nutrition facts. So on here, whenever you have total fat, protein, and carbohydrates, those are the 3 macronutrients. That means that those are the ones that your calories are coming from. Sodium, not providing calories, just salt. Now, you're going to have up at the top here, look at this with me real quick, you have serving size. That is, let me get a little closer to you, 3/4 of a cup. Now that is about 3/4 of the size of your fist. If you got big fist, it's a little bit smaller. If you got small fist, it's a little bit bigger. But that's just kind of a good visual for you. But if you're going to eat 1 serving of this, then that means that you're going to be getting 110 calories from the 3/4 cups that you're consuming. If you decide that you're going to consume 1.5 cups or 2 1/4, then you multiply everything that's in here by 3. From 1 serving or 3/4 of a cup of this cereal, that would offer you 110 calories. It would also offer you 1.5 grams of total fat. Now what you want to keep in mind is that when you see these percentages over here, that means that based on a 2,000 calorie diet, that does not mean that everybody is eating 2,000 calories, but this is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. 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 That does not mean you need to eat 2,000 calories. When you go in here, these percentages are going to tell you, based on a 2,000 calorie diet, how much you have consumed of what you would need for the day. For example, you would consume 2% of your total fat for the day. Anything that's indented and underneath, for instance, saturated fat, trans fat, monounsaturated fatty acid, polyunsaturated fatty acid, all are part of the total fat. So you add those together, you're going to get close to 1.5. Same thing with total carbohydrates. If you take your other carbohydrates, your sugars, your soluble fiber, your dietary fiber, it all will put into or be a part of your total carbohydrates. Fiber is beneficial. I'll just leave it at that. Now, when you're reviewing this, you want to keep in mind that, again, are you going to consume that actual serving size? So are you going to eat 55 pieces of these goldfish, or are you going to eat 110 or 165? For these Belvita cookies, are you going to consume 1 pack or 2? This is where it becomes beneficial to have a serving size that is actually 1 pack, because sometimes it's not always the case. So whenever you look at this right here, this is the fig bars. These fig bars say that serving size is 1 bar and servings per container is 24. Whenever you pull this out, the serving is still 1 bar. However, there are 2 bars in every one of these packs. So while you think that each little packet is 100 calories, the reality is each bar in the packet is 100 calories. So, a little bit of math time. If you're going to do this math right here, and you consume 2 of these blueberry bars, now no longer are you getting 10 grams of sugar, you're getting 20 grams of sugar. Now you're not getting 19 grams of carbohydrates, you're getting 40. If you're diabetic, that's an important distinction. If you're looking at calories, that's now 100 calories per pack. It's 100 calories per bar, so now you're consuming 200 calories, which is fine. Again, calories are not the enemy, but it's important for you to understand what is actually there. The reason that this is helpful is because whenever you're picking out snacks, if you know you're the person that's going to eat the entire packet, then whenever you're getting that bag of chips that's about this big, that Frito-Lay's little spinny barbecue ones, you understand that there's 3.5 servings in that entire bag, and you're not splitting it with 3.5 of your friends. So if you're going to eat the whole thing, then you multiply those calories by 3.5 to figure out how many you would really be eating. I once worked with a student who told me that she wanted me to go through some of the calories that she was eating, So we went through it, and I was like, if this is all you're eating, then you're probably under consuming calories. And she's like, oh, well, I really like those naked drinks, but they're healthy. They're good for you, right? And I was like, okay, so what naked smoothie drinks are you drinking? She's like, oh, well, I like the Green Machine one. It's really healthy for you. Okay, cool. So we looked at the Green Machine that she chose. She was like, oh, it's the big one. The big one. That big one has more than one serving in it. That big one is like drinking half a gallon of orange juice for the amount of calories and sugar that's going to be there. So that's why looking at the nutrition facts panel can be helpful. When you look on here and you see that sodium is 210 milligrams, and that's 9% of what you need for the day. If you're having 6 of these a day, you're having closer to 60% of what you need from sodium just from this. So these percent daily values can be helpful. If you look at a stick of butter, oh, hold on real quick. I went to Philly for you guys. If you look at this right here, the serving size for this is 1 ounce. Or if you don't know like what 1 ounce is, it says servings per container, and it's 1/8 of this. So if you eat 1/8 of this on your bagel, that would mean that you have consumed 10 grams of total fat. But you've also consumed 6 grams of saturated fat, which is equal to 30% of the amount of saturated fat that you would need for the day on a 2,000 calorie diet. If you're having less than 2,000 calories, you would need less. If you're having more than 2,000 calories, you would need more. But at the same time, this right here is going to provide 30% of what you need for the day just from saturated fat. Then we'll go to the good old butter. So if you're going to have 1 tablespoon, which is about the size of your thumb, you take 1 tablespoon of this thing, it's 12 grams of fat, which is 15% of what someone on a 2,000 calorie diet would need. Then if you look at the saturated fat, it's 7 grams, which is 35% of what somebody would need for the day. So if you're looking at these things, they start to add up. And this is where you start to put your food together. And when somebody asks, is this healthy for me or not? It's really a matter of what else are we eating throughout the day. If I'm going to have 2 tablespoons of this, that means that I've got 70% of what I need for saturated fat for the day. So 2 tablespoons of butter on your piece of bread, that's going to be 70% of what you need for the day. And because you had 2 servings of it, it's 200 calories on top of however many calories the bread is. This is why sauces really start to add up, because we don't really take into account how many calories are going to be in that sauce. And if it's a cream sauce, it's going to have a lot of saturated fat in it. So not to ruin this for you, but some of the sauces from Chick-fil-A come in that little packet that's about this big, right? That packet is going to have 140 calories in it. You could have 4 of those packets, or you could have a whole other chicken sandwich. So looking at nutrition facts can be important. Again, this has not been an endorsement of any of these options. You are free to choose whatever food you would like. So, what is the most confusing part of the Nutrition Facts panel to you? What questions do you have about the Nutrition Facts panel? What thing did I not get to that you want to know more about? What's the funniest Nutrition Facts panel that you've seen? I mean, I could go with the Oreos, the double stuff. 2 of those is a serving. Nobody really eats 2 of those. Ramen, 1 of those packets, 1 of the ramen packets is 2 servings. I don't know about you, but do you split your ramen brick with your friend? Be sure to subscribe and make some comments.